Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Sippin the Dry. Today I'm here with Dirk Fishbach, our Hardy Grays and Waterworks-Lamson rep. How are you today, sir?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Back in Dayton or Bellbrook.
Yes. We're close enough. Centerville.
Exactly. It's a putt.
Yes, absolutely. You have shown up with so much information. I don't want to even stop because I want to try to get through all of it. Hardy Grays.
Big year for us at Hardy Grays. Last year, we're still in 2022, which was the 150th anniversary year for Hardy.
Yeah.
Grays is a little newer company, but still been around the block for a long time. And so last year was a big year for us as a company, a lot of celebration. We carried over that momentum, I think, pretty nicely into the product lineup for this year.
Okay.
I think the highlight on the Hardy side is probably going to be the new Fortuna Regent reel, which is a saltwater reel that is sealed unlike anything even we've made before, which, we've always had a great reputation for a sealed saltwater reel. This is the latest. It's lighter than the old Fortuna. It has some really nice features. As you're discovering, the drag is all within one turn. You go from zero to 60 in one revolution, so you always know where you're at. It's indexed, and
you can hear how smooth that is.
Yes, very smooth reel and very big pickup. If in the 8,000, when you're at the backing, you're still picking up 14 inches with each revolution. So that's a lot of pickup, and that reel has really done very well for us in its, I don't want to say prototype stage when it was out, but in its early stage as we were developing it, it did very well in the tarpon competitions, and it's been showing very, very well throughout the preseason so far.
My gosh.
So that's new from Hardy, and also a new line of rods for us, the Aidens, which are replacing some of, we had a lot of fans for our Demon rods and our Shadow rods and the Zanes. We've kind of combined those lines into the Aiden series, which is around a $500 rod, and it comes in a travel series, in a double-handed, a full range of SKUs to replace a lot of different things. So that's new, and that's also showing very well.
Yeah, that's sick.
Then on the Grays side, and Grays is a more, I don't want to say entry level, but it's more for the maybe entry to intermediate level angler getting into the sport.
Okay.
It's where Hardy might be seen as an aspirational brand for a lot of people. Grays is kind of your mid-price rods. We've got rods from $189 in the Grays lineup all the way up to $550.
Okay, so Hardy picks up from there.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And the Grays, we've got 3 new lines of rods, the Lance, the Kite, and the Wing.
Okay.
For Grays this year. Great rods, really tremendous amount of development in those rods. I remember seeing them at a sales meeting 2 years ago when we were just flirting with them,
pitching them.
So to see them today in their final form is pretty nice, and they match up nicely with the Reel series that we introduced last year with the fin, the tail, and title. So a lot of new stuff from us this year. I'd like to think a lot of the tradition that carries on. Of course, your fans of Hardy are probably very familiar with our Perfects and our Bouglés and the Marquis. We pronounce it Marquis over there, not Marquis. If you call the company, call it a Marquis.
Okay, Marquis.
The Cascapedias, those, and the Lightweight series, those classic British reels. Yes. They're still there. A slight change to the Bouglé series this year in that we're going to discontinue the silver finish that many people have come to know.
Yes.
And we're going with that sort of gunmetal look from the 1939 Heritage series that we had.
Yeah.
That's going to be the whole series. And we're offering it in everything from the baby up to a 4-inch. So a really robust series, 6 reels in that series. Very, very exciting time. And like I say, the excitement in the fly fishing community has been great this year. I mean, we came through those COVID years, which were a challenge for a lot of people supply chain wise, a challenge
Yes.
in a lot of ways, and obviously a lot of personal challenges people faced. We're coming out of that now, and we've got a whole bunch of new anglers out in the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of
fly
people
fishing
picked it up.
exploded during that because it was something you could do away from people.
And
I
to
think.
learn, yeah.
So we've got this whole new group of people coming into the sport, and I'd like to think we've got some offerings that are going to keep them excited and keep them
Bring
growing
it back,
in the
yeah.
sport.
Start them in the grays, get them in the hardies.
Exactly. Keep them growing in the sport. You know, I think the good news for the sport in general, other than just the influx of people, is that most of our dealers are still standing. They're still doing. They're
Yeah.
still doing okay. We made it through those horrible pandemic times, and actually a lot of them increased sales during that period and did quite well.
That's awesome.
And the heritage companies, the Hardys, the Orvises, are still out there, still doing it, still
Holding true.
bringing product, and I think that's great. I mean, I
Absolutely.
look around the sport and I think, we're in good shape as an industry. I like it.
We just recently picked you guys up, but you guys, Hardy's been around since, I hate to say the 1800s.
1872.
It's 72, when it was
Yep.
started by, I believe,
Couple of brothers,
Yeah,
yep.
two brothers. That is so cool. And you were mentioning earlier today, we were just kind of talking that you guys are one of the few reel makers in England that can make reels
For the Crown,
for
yes.
the Crown.
Yes, we will be doing a couple of special editions coming up, almost certainly to commemorate Charles's coronation,
Yeah.
and also to recognize the passing of the Queen.
The Queen. Wow.
So as reel makers and manufacturers to the Crown, that's one of the things that we do.
That is
And,
absolutely awesome.
yeah, kind of a
That's-
cool thing.
Yeah, and because you guys have been connected to the Crown since
Really from the beginning.
Yeah,
I mean,
you had to get from the Crown. You had to get the paperwork to be able to make the reels.
Yep.
You know that has stood the test of time. That's
yeah,
so sweet.
And nice thing about Hardy is, while we've got great new products, and you can look at a reel like the Fortuna Regent, and it's fantastic,
Beautiful,
You
modern.
still have the traditional, like a Hardy Perfect or a Bouglé.
Yep.
The Perfect, essentially the Perfect was designed in 1892, and it really, other than a few superficial changes here and there, I believe it was Foster Hardy that developed the Perfect. I think he'd still recognize the reel. I mean, it
the
looks
same
exactly
thing.
like the one he made. I mean,
when
there's
you
something to
nail
be
it.
said for that when
Yes,
you've got that
absolutely.
kind of a heritage. And I love to represent a company where we can play on that kind of heritage.
Absolutely.
But like I say, there's fresh new things coming out too. Anybody that's seen our whole line of performance reels like the Fortuna knows, they make the British reels, those classic English reels, but they're also moving forward with the times too.
It's kind of it's kind of
Yeah.
like a BMW, kind of sporty.
Yes,
You know how the British are. They like to be sleek, but fast.
that's right.
All right. Well, tell me about you, sir. I don't really know a whole lot about you. I don't get to see you a lot, unfortunately. You're normally up north.
I'm from Michigan. I've guided in Michigan and Montana. I spent 31 years guiding.
Wow.
While also doing some other things. I've been in marketing and things like that, but I always had a guiding business. I owned 2 fly shops through the years in Michigan, and then I got into the world of repping about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I enjoy all sides of the sport. I mean, I've been an avid angler since I was a kid, and I liked owning a shop, and I really like coming into shops and being able to share experiences with the owners of the shops, trying to maybe help them avoid some of the mistakes I made as a shop
True.
owner.
Absolutely,
and,
yes. Yeah,
and
yeah.
help them, understand some of the things that opportunities that they may not know about with programs and things, and help them maximize the value that they can get
Get it
from
out
a
of it,
brand.
yeah.
So
Wow.
I enjoy that. I started my guiding career in Montana in 1986, and I still go back to Montana every year. I still have friends there that I worked with, that I guided, and that I just knew. And I still get out to Montana every year and spend a couple of weeks. So.
How's the fishing compared to before? Is it just as good? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's, in terms of the numbers of fish, it's roughly the same. In terms of the number of anglers, it's insane.
Okay.
You know, I used to work the Madison and the Gallatin a lot, and it's such a strange thing to me to go to a put-in like Lions Bridge now on the Madison and see a lineup of 20 drift boats waiting to put in. In 86, there was no lineup of drift boats. You were lucky if anybody had a drift boat. Okay. Well, it wasn't quite that bad, but I mean, it was completely different
so it's
world.
Just blown up.
But the quality of the fishery is still very good. You know, I mean,
Awesome.
I still experience great days out there. You don't have the solitude that you used to have, but that's most places.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is. But I mean, you know, we want people to get into it. We want to keep the tradition going, but that means we have to share.
There's room. There really is room for everybody.
There is.
If you just show some courtesy and etiquette.
Which is fly fisherman, being a gentleman is part of what we do.
Exactly.
You know?
And, you know, in a place like Montana, and I dearly love to fish Montana, but I also love the driftless region of Wisconsin and northern Michigan and, you know, some of the fisheries right here in Ohio.
Yep.
I mean, there's so much great stuff. But in Montana, there's so much opportunity to get off the beaten track. I mean, if you get off the Madison and the Gallatin, you go hike up, you know, Fawn Creek or Fan Creek or any of those creeks, you know, you can have as much solitude
just go
as you
away.
want.
Yeah.
If you see a grizzly bear, you may have too much solitude.
Well, shoot.
So, you know, there's still opportunity to get away out there for sure.
That's so good. I mean, that's kind of like our buddy Clay. Used to work here. He moved shops since he moved out to Utah. But he was fishing his first time, born and raised here in Ohio. He was fishing his first or second time, and a moose actually walked across the stream close enough that he could smell it. And he's like, you know, coming from Ohio, that is just something that you don't see.
Exactly.
Holy crap. I wouldn't know what to do. Man. All right. Anything new from Lamson Waterworks?
Yeah. Yep. Waterworks has a new line of rods coming out, the Radius. And, of course, that'll join the rods that we introduced during the last cycle.
Yeah.
The Radius is, I think it's a pretty exciting product, pretty compelling product.
Yeah.
Good price point.
Cool.
Again, it's in that mid-price point.
Okay.
And then we've got a new saltwater reel coming out, the Centerfire, which is going to be a little more price point for a saltwater reel with a sealed drag, outstanding craftsmanship. You know, again,
Lamson's pretty good.
Yeah, Waterworks-Lamson. They don't stumble. They they go forward confidently.
If it's not perfect, they don't let it out.
Exactly.
And, you know, it shows.
And that's going to join with. You know, we introduced the marine version of the Lightspeed. That's still being utilized, you know, quite a bit. The Cobalt is going away, but it's, you know, the marine Lightspeed and then the new Centerfire. Those are going to fill that void, you know, on both ends of it. So, you know, I think that's very compelling. We got some new colorways coming in the reels, which is always exciting.
Yes.
I think that people that follow Waterworks, they know, oh yeah, there'll be something exciting color-wise, and we've got some new wrinkles this year to the color program too.
It's like
so
a distinguished exciting too. It's not like over the top.
No, it's a little understated. It's nice. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I think that, you know, in the Waterworks lineup, of course, you know, that is truly a lineup that runs the gamut from the beginner with the liquids.
Yep. All the way
on up. Something to take you through your entire angling career. And just solid American product. Really,
True.
You know.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah,
actually.
Great story. And looks like a good year for them coming up with some compelling new products.
That's exciting. I mean, but you had some rods come out. What was this? You said last year?
Yeah.
Did they? I mean,
some markets did really well with those.
Okay.
I think that it kind of depends on the shops in a particular region.
True.
How quickly they are to adapt to new rods coming out. Lamson.
Yeah.
they're building rods with, for instance, the reel seats on the rods are different than anybody else's. They have a style of closure that is an improvement over, the standard reel seats on the market. Whenever Lamson does something, it's always going to be a little different than what the other guys are doing,
True.
and it's sometimes a subtle difference, like a color, a little different colorway or something. Yes. Or it can be something in the reel seat that indexes it better and holds the reel more, more securely. Sturdier. And that's just the way they do it at Lamson. If they're going to do something, it's going to be different, and it's going to be an improvement over what anything existed.
That's so good, man.
So I think that'll be exciting to see how that the new Radius rod series plays out. And like I say, it'll be in some regions that product comes in very quickly. In other regions where there's maybe more maturity in the marketplace, where there's already a lot of rods, it's a little slower introduction.
True.
But
yeah.
Ultimately, those that are good stick around.
Yeah, they'll know to look for it.
Yep.
They'll know it's coming out. I forgot to ask you, when you were talking about the new Grays reels, who are those geared to? Is that trout fishermen?
Well, again, in the Grays being sort of a value line for pure fishing, you've got a reel that sells, at under $100, which is a great entry level reel, the fin.
Yeah.
Then you've got a midpoint reel at the tail, and then you've got the title reel, which is about a 239 and up reel with a fully sealed drag, fully saltwater capable.
Freshwater reel.
It's a freshwater reel that goes in the salt just fine.
A lot of people are out there looking for that.
Exactly, and it's a fully sealed drag at under $300, which is not common.
No, that's pretty cool.
So the Grays, we'd like to take people from entry level right up through. I fish a lot of Grays rods. I've been in this sport, forever.
A couple years,
and I still fish Grays rods. I love them. So,
all right. Well, sir, is there anything else that I can drag out of you? Do you have an awesome story to end it on? Something funny? I love to laugh, and I know you like to make people laugh.
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that comes with my job is travel. I was
You're on the road, my friend.
I was telling Parker I was in Pennsylvania not 10 days ago, and I was in Minneapolis 3 days ago. So there's a lot of windshield time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I do. I have a motor home that I drive around a lot of the times. I'm not in it today. I didn't drive
That's
it down
awesome.
here.
I had no idea. That's so
yeah,
cool.
I actually live out of a motor home. So there's challenges along the road that you run into.
Well,
but
we've done FaceTimes with you from that.
Yeah,
I thought that was just a camper. No, that's that's awesome.
That's where I live.
Sweet. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I was in my motorhome traveling with my little dog. I've got a little dog that I travel with, and
What's his name?
That's Biddy.
I love
little
that.
Biddy.
Little Biddy.
And we were on I-40, and one of the things that motorhomes break. I was driving, and all of a sudden my brake warning comes on and everything. So I pull over, and I'm panicked. I don't know. My kid's a mechanic. I'm not.
This
so
could
I don't
be
know
huge.
what to do.
Yeah, this could be.
So I'm sitting there beside the road, and it was by the time they could get a mobile mechanic out, it was 5 hours before I could get repaired. Guy comes out, looks everything over. It turns out somebody had loosened a fitting on an air coupler up front and didn't tighten it. So literally 5 hours of waiting for this guy, not even 5 minutes to fix it, and a $1,500 bill. So that's that's life on the road.
Good Lord, sir.
So, that's... But then I ended up in New Mexico to fish the Chama River for a little bit.
All right.
And now, this is the funny part of the story. Of course, I've got my motorhome. I'm $1,500 down. I'm there. And I'm waiting to fish the Chama. And of course, if you know, the West has been in a drought forever.
Yep.
Well, apparently not Chama. Chama, it rained every day I was there. The river was blown out. I got to fish for a grand total of 2 hours.
Oh, no.
Other than that, it was just chocolate milk. So ended up spending a dreary almost a week in New Mexico, and I pulled up stakes and drove to Montana. I said, I know where I can fish.
Yeah, that sounds like the smartest move you could have made, sir.
But that's life on the road for this year.
True. Hey, but that's sick. That's super cool that you get to see all of that from.
I've seen a lot of this country
of home.
Yep.
So to speak. That's cool.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, sir, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for all of you, please like, comment, subscribe. This is the beginnings of our new studio, I guess you would call it.
I love it.
We got soundproofing up. This is all going to be nice.
Yeah, this is great.
Wanted to, you're the first one on it. So
well, there you go.
congratulations.
I like the fact that at least so far it's decorated with Hardy stuff.
Absolutely. We can change
that always makes me happy.
Absolutely. So yeah, this is from all the subscribers. So here's to you, helping us out, making us better. So
cheers.
Until next time, thank you. Cheers. Oh, I love Hardy.
Yeah.